As you know, I like to work in my sketchbooks. And usually it's just a random sketchbook with anything in it. But I also got these two. These two, I just thought I'd just give them a theme. Some people give them a theme by just saying, I do only portraits or I do only flowers, for example. Well, I decided just to do mindful art. This actually only mindful grid art, and this is the mindful art version. So I want to show you a few things that I've in here, and yeah, I'll just flip around and maybe tell you how my process went and how my mind actually moves. I'll just start with this one because this set it all off. I started doing this mindful grid art and it got really addictive. So when I started doing this, I decided to do this as a workshop on a summit. And eventually it even evolved in becoming a course on Skillshare. And I'll just show you a few things in here. And this is the first one. Actually, a lot of them are done with this technique. Because with this technique, what I do, if you want to know the full technique, you will learn in the Mindful Grid Art course on Skillshare. But just in general, I just tape off this page and I start moving around freely with my pen, and actually used two different sizes, a thicker one and a thinner one. And when I thought I was done, I just lifted up my pen and started filling in the spaces I created with patterns and with colors. And then I took off the tape and I got 4 different little artworks on here. And with this, it's not important in how it looks. Sometimes it looks really good. I actually like this one. But sometimes it's rubbish, but that's fine because this is my sketchbook and this sketchbook is for mindful art. It's not for making the best art in your life sketchbook. So this is just the process and enjoying the process. And you know, when we're doing it, I get rubbish, a lot of rubbish too. And this one is exactly the same, but here I decided just to tape off a few more segments so I have more options to draw in. And with this, I started to get a feel of it and how I wanted to use my pen, how I wanted to use my mindfulness, how I wanted to use my paper. And I actually just did, yeah, like I said, quite a few, actually a whole book. And sometimes I just ventured out a bit and I was like, yeah, I'll just tape it off. And then I start making, this was just some flowers. And I took off the leaves and now you have 3 different artworks that contain those flowers. So this wasn't really maybe the mindful art. Yeah, I was mindful to do, especially making those dots. But I just wanted to be creative and see what happens if I change my rules, bend my rules, because I know there are art rules. And I also teach a course about rules of abstract art, for example. But if you know the rules, you can break them. And since those were my own rules, I could break them in any way I want to. So this was just me exploring, and that's what a sketchbook is about. It's about exploring, experimenting, and finding my way. Well, I have loads of these in here. Oh, this is actually just, this is really mindful art. This is just putting down the lines, putting down the lines, putting down the lines. I love doing that. Putting down lines is, I think, hands down my favorite way of using mindful art. A lot of abstract work in here as well. Yeah, this may be a little bit of cheating because this is one grid. And with this, I was just putting down some pieces of scrap paper. I love to put down my scraps. If you follow me here on Instagram, you know, because you've seen quite a few of my scrappy doodles or scrapbook collages over here as well. And then I decided to put them down and put my pen down and see where it leads me. So this is what it did. And yeah, this is all with the same theme. It's all in the same way, made in the same way. Sometimes I have more grids on a page because here I have thick tape, here I have just thinner tape. But this is exactly the same exercise as I did with the first one that I showed you. And the fun thing is, even when you do the same exercise over and over again, they change. They're never the same because you just go with the flow, see where the pen takes you. It's really hard if you go with like this with your pen just to see, you're wandering around what's going to happen, what the end result would be. Yeah, well, loads and loads and loads of them in here. Neurographic art as well. Now you get the picture what this sketchbook was about. And then I finished this sketchbook. Oh, before I say that, this is easy. You should really try this. I like this. This was, of course, taped down as a grid. And then I put down a few pieces of leftover tape. There's like those little scraps. You see them, those weird shapes, and just put them down everywhere and start filling out the whole shape with markers. I think they're Ecoline markers, if I remember correctly. Take the tape off. I left on those, I think, but took those small ones off and just put down some lines in the negative shapes that emerged. So this is so mindful and this is so fun to do. But again, then I finished this journal and I was okay. I want to do some more because I'm definitely not done with my mindful grids, but I'm not sure if I want to do a whole book. I think I'm just going to do mindful art. So I do the grid art, still do it, but I decided to do some other things as well. You see, we started off with the same exercise. You see, exactly the same exercise. You use different colors, maybe different patterns, but even different tape. Just fun, fun, fun. This clears my mind and get my creative juices flowing again, get me started with the next project whenever I'm stuck. I can do it wherever, whenever. I started this one at the back of a camper van, actually. So yeah, you could do it wherever. And it starts off with the grids like you've seen before. Then I was like, yeah, what if I want to do some more like shapes? More of the abstract pieces. This is actually some washi tape. Put it down and then see where the pen wanted to take me. I was just trying to be present in the moment and trying to not overthink it, because I have the habit of overthinking my art and it doesn't really give the best end result. But with this, it was just being in a moment, and then when my mind said stop, my hand just stopped. I actually like these two. So yeah, sometimes you actually get a lovely present from your sketchbook. It's so bad that they don't really produce these sketchbooks anymore, or I don't know where to find them, because you could tear them out if you want to and frame them if you really like it. Actually, never did, but I could. This one I taped off and I just putting down lines with markers and pencil, putting them down because I love those lines, different colors, not really paying attention too much, getting the tape off, and all of a sudden I have my lovely artwork. Again, these are the lines. And of course, when there was some watercolor down, I want to try and make some lines, and I thought, oh, this is some kind of petal or maybe more like a leaf. And it's like, what if I add some extra? What if I add up some extra? It's not really a leaf anymore, but it started off as one. And by adding those extra things, it's just mindful exercise. It's more of an artwork again. And you see, grids, but not really grids. These were just circles, putting down circles and again circles. And I had some more well, not really circles, shapes. I started off with you doing circles. They weren't really straight, and I was like, I love this imperfection. They don't need to be straight, so I put down some more, and then I started to fill them up, and I ended up with this. I couldn't expect this. When I started it, it just ended up like this. And this is really easy to do, really fun to do. I grabbed a lot of markers, but you could also just take colored pencil and just putting down triangles. And I was not even thinking about what color to take or what to mix. No, I was just putting them all down, grabbing one, making a triangle, grabbing another one, making a triangle. And I kept on going until I finished all the markers, and then I started all over again. And sometimes you have larger triangles, then you have smaller. It's not about perfection. And then I want to write down that about something about perfectly imperfect, and I wasn't really paying attention, and my perfectly actually went even more imperfect, which made it perfect for the picture, if you know what I mean. So this was an accident, but it was a happy accident to fit this page. I love these abstract scribbles. Make me want to explore those abstract figures and textures more in my larger pieces. This has absolutely nothing to do with the mindful exercise, I think. Maybe it did. I absolutely hate it, but yeah, that's a sketchbook. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. And follow that line like a shadow. And then filling them up with stripes. When they're all filled up, add some colors. Neural graphic again. Did those rounds again, but now I knew what was going to happen. Tried them in a grid, but now I knew what's going to happen, and I don't like them as much. I liked them better the first time because they were a surprise. Now they weren't, and they just didn't really fit me. Just let me see if I got some weird different thing. Oh yeah, got with scraps again. Here it's the different things are coming. This is actually an exercise I teach in my Happy Accidents course on Skillshare. I do it a little bit differently there than I did over here, but you get more or less the same way. You just put down some watercolors or coffee or some kind of liquid thing and let it flow and then let it dry. And then you see all those edges emerge, and then I'm just going to follow the line with my pen. I'll show you one day in a video, I think. This is fun to do. If you do like the stripes, it's like my number one to go do thing, and this is my second one that I really love. This is fun too, because over here I used actually, I think 3 colors, watercolor, 3 or 4, I don't remember. And I made some shapes, and then I started to mix them, and then I did a little bit of that color with that color, a little bit of the mixing color with the other mixing color. So that makes a cohesive watercolor palette. I have no clue where I got this idea from. I think I got this from Willa Wonders. I'm not sure. From Father School, but I actually like doing this. Really peaceful, and watercolor is peaceful because I like the movement, the flow that it really gives me. This is a fun thing. This is really fun. I think I showed this in a video earlier on YouTube. And what I did, I just grabbed this card, put it down, put down some dots, filled them some dots here, and then started connecting the dots. And this is what emerged. This is just a quick overview how the exercise actually went. If you want to see it more into detail, just check out my other video here on YouTube. And you know what I mean. This is done exactly the same way, but then with waves. And this looks really difficult, but was just going around and around and around and around and around with my micron. I love using microns because they are archival. So if I start using it and then decide I want to do like watercolor or a marker, it won't smudge. So that's why I like using it, and because it's a fine liner. But after doing that, I just had an area, for example, over here, and I started filling it with lines. And the second area I started filling in with lines as well, but in the opposite direction. And then something like this emerges. It's just so simple. Most of these exercises is so simple, and recommend them for everyone. And they're so fun and relaxing to do because there's no high bar or something. It doesn't have to be perfect. All my art has to be perfect. It's stressful, but this is just really mindfulness. I love this. And this is actually nothing fancy either. This is just putting down some lines. It's like this is a line and this is a line, and I was like pretending there was a branch underneath. So it was a line, stopped, line, stopped, line, and this one went parallel. And then I was just pretending it was like round or bent like a branch. So I made this shape like a backward C, and I did with all of them, and suddenly they're like almost like 3D. Really, 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 really simple. So effective for my brain. Yeah, more of those dotted things. And here I got my new acrylic wash, and I want to try out these colors. I actually love them together, and just I had no particular idea or thing I want to start off with. This is just my abstract play, and I learned so much from this for my larger paintings. Yeah, I love doing this, and I actually like them. They're like these are small paintings, small masterpieces, or yeah, I love those. This, how easy can it be? Just stripe, 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 stripe. Ah, let's use another color. Stripe, stripe, stripe. These are the most mindful exercises you can think of. Actually, you don't have to think about it. Yeah, I told you this before with all the watercolor. With nothing really, it's really that different. Actually, this, how did I do this? I think I was just wandering around, getting a shape, and then adding things. I have no clue how I did this. These are just doodles. You see me just doodling, just wondering. This is easy to make a shape. And then lines to accentuate the negative space. That's it. And do that 4 times in your grid. You're done. So yeah, this is it. Over here, maybe don't like the background, but I like the foreground. These shells, I actually found them on the beach because I live close to a river, and these were on the river bank. I just put them down in the paper, just like rolling the dice. They were on my paper. I didn't position them, and I just rounded them, or I traced them. I couldn't remember the word. Traced them, and then I was like, just fill them up with the lines. No perfect lines because none of them were perfect in real life. And I just added some color. Would I do a different color next time? Definitely. But I still like what I did, like the exercise. So that's fine. I learned, and I learned how to do it next time. I love this one. Everything went wrong with this one. So I added stuff, added stuff, added stuff. And yeah, this is what happened. I actually like this one. I like this more kind of an abstract bouquet. So this is one of my happy accidents. And this is just how these books emerge and how they come to life. These are 2 of them. I just finished this one, so I need to have a new Mindful Grid Art book. Can't find those anywhere. If you know where I can find, I think I had it here. If you know where I can find this sketchbook, I would love for you to let me know, because I definitely want to have more of them. They're rubbish when you use watercolor, but they're perfect when you want to use my grit art with your fine liners and your markers. So let me know if you know where to find one of those. I can't find them on Amazon anymore, and I can't find them at my local art stores. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll just see you in my next flip through here on YouTube. If you like this flip through, or if you like to see how my creative brain actually works, just subscribe to this channel, and so you won't miss any new video coming out. And I hope to see you soon. Okay, bye bye.